successful. And I knew I had to overcome my mind to get into this fight because of the level that she was at, because of the fact that she was quite a bit heavier than me, taller than me. And so I went through this journey of like overcoming fear. And what happened was I walked out into this fight so freaking confident. Like I really walked out like Queen of the Ring and stepped into the ring, stepped over the ropes, into the lights, bell went, and I got kicked in the head. My ears start to ring. I can't fucking see straight. Instinct kicked in, right? It's like fighting blind. Your body knows what to do. These flurries are coming at you. You're just going down to your basics. Jab, kick, move, right? And I lost that fight. And I came out of that fight feeling really down on myself. And I actually never fought again after that for a number of reasons. And one of the things that I realized was that fear actually had a really important place. I think I almost had my guard down because I felt so calm, and that the fear instinct helps you to keep your guard up. You know, it's like always sleep with one eye open. But in life, if you're always sleeping with one eye open, if you're always looking, you know, to see who's on your left, to see who's going to kick your head in, to see who's going to hurt you, to see what's going to let you down, to see what bad shit's going to happen, you're not going to fully live into life. And that's what you're doing in your business. Deep down, unconsciously, you are fearing things. And I've experienced this a lot in the last couple of years when I've really started to take my business into greater heights. These unconscious fears coming up that I didn't know I had them until they stared me in the face. Until their reality stared me in the face, because that's what happens when we're in a fear emotion. We're actually in a gravitational pull of the things that we're fearing. My coach always says worrying is praying. If you want to go deeper with this stuff, grab my book down in the comments. I go deep into this stuff, and I go deep into what I call beginning to ride the creative wave of chaos, which is where you start to trust. And the thing is that when we're in a soul pilgrimage, we are overcoming our fears and stepping out. We are getting to this vulnerable place of allowing ourselves to be fully seen. My last video, freeing all parts of yourself into love, so you feel that, you know, I'm sweaty, ugly, red. I'm showing up anyway because I want to share something with you right now. And my kids aren't here, they're fast asleep. You know, I'm not going to go home, put my face on, and then show up. I'm going to do it right now while I'm uncomfortable. And, you know, in your brain, something really specific is happening here. When you get out of your survival brain, you start playing in a different place in your brain. Your brain waves are slowing down. When we're in a stress state, we're in a beta consciousness. This is a really fast brainwave. It's really good for focusing, but it is also a place where we can only take in 40 bits of information per second. So imagine the limits on your mind in this beta consciousness, in this stress state, in this fear state, where instincts kicked in because you've got a deadline, you've got to make money, you've got to pay the bill, you've got to do this thing, you've got to find the client, you've got to get down your to-do list. What we want to do is drop into a slower brainwave. And I call it, well, I don't call it, it is called the alpha brainwave, but I call it transitioning into your alpha mind, which is your creative mind, your right-hand side of your brain, where you can take in 11 million bits of information per second, where the right-hand side of your brain can start taking in and processing some of the stuff and then handing it back over to the left-hand side of the brain, where the logical mind can deal with what it needs to deal with. Our society has conditioned us. I was watching a client's video last night, or ex-client now, but I was watching his video and he was talking about how society has programmed us to be this way. We know, to fear, to live in fear. You know, I noticed yesterday, the minute there's something going on Facebook, oh, this person's safe, that person's safe. What the fuck do you think that's doing to your nervous system? To be constantly alerted to all the bad shit going on in the world. Again, I was watching an interview on Russell Brand, Stay Free people, and he was talking about Donald Trump, and he used to really not be behind Donald Trump, But now he says Donald Trump's shattering fucking paradigms, and we didn't have war with Trump, right? But Trump is now in all of these court cases and all of this stigma around what he's doing, and he's been indicted. He was like, I've been indicted more times than Mussolini or something. And it's true, right? Because why? Because civilization wants to keep you in a fear place. In my book, I talk about a tree that I used to climb when I was a kid, and my mum used to hate it. My mum had a lot of fear. She's bipolar, and she just used to constantly live in a fear state. And she used to say to me, you know, don't climb that tree, don't climb that tree. I was maybe 7 or 8 years old. I'm going to climb the tree, man. Like, I just saw freedom up there. And I parked my bike underneath this tree one day, and I climbed on up, and I could see her. She was in the kitchen peeling potatoes or popping peas or something. And I fell out the tree. I fell out the tree. I landed on my bike frame. The bike frame went up between my legs. I felt like my vagina was broken. I've never been so much pain in my life. I couldn't sit down for a week. And after that, I didn't climb the tree. I feared the tree. So every single experience that you've had in your life is playing out right now in your business because of the fears that you have, because of the fears that were created. And this can be really small things, you know, the time that you were humiliated in school, the time that you felt embarrassed in that group. You know, when I was really working deeply into just trauma with women, the stories that came through that were the actual root of why they were stuck in their business was insane. You know, one lady had been pushed out of a circle in the playground, and now she didn't want to create a community in her business. I had another client who never really felt like she could belong, and so she didn't want to create a community where she might get pushed out. And this is a tribal thing as well, right? This is again an instinct. My breathwork mentor calls it fear of feeling out. We don't survive on our own. We survive in tribes. But you know what? There is no tribes nowadays. You are on your own, sugar. You know, and I've realized this. Being in a man's world, being in corporate world, as a woman, climbing the ranks really early, really young in my business, I began my masculine drive very early on. You know, I was raped at 24 years old, and again, the instinct kicked in, the masculine. You know, the short hair, the guns, the kickboxing. I've had a lot of time on my own soul pilgrimage to understand who I am and what really works for me. You know, I've come down to the fact that I probably am a gal in a guy's body. I do have a very tomboy way about myself, but now I've also got a very feminine, playful way as well. I'm allowing these energies to balance themselves within myself and not feel vulnerable. I had a massive trauma release last week where I realized that I was carrying sexual trauma that went way back before I was ever raped, possibly back into the collective. This idea of, you know, a man's drive being more overpowering than their sense, almost an unhinged feeling, an unsafe feeling. But, you know, again, when you drop into sex, the most vulnerable place of love, it is vulnerability. It is absolute dropping guards down, being completely at ease, not even trusting each other, but trusting in yourself, trusting in your innate power, your innate instinct, just like that instinct kicked in the ring. I couldn't see, I couldn't hear, I couldn't fucking think, but I could kick and I could punch. And I got through 3 rounds of that fight. And that's the truth. And the thing is, though, you can live life like that on instinct, just getting through, just getting by, or you can learn to fucking trustful and start to fully experience life. And for me, this was about fully experiencing business. Experiencing my business from a place of passion, taking that money that I was earning and investing it into expanding my experience of life because of a trustful. And it wasn't a trust in ultimately a higher power, because that is a stage of your soul pilgrimage. That is soul development, is to say, I am trusting that there is a power higher than myself. a power greater than myself. And the next stage is to say, I am the power. I am the universe. I am one inseparable whole of everything that is around me. And I'm creating all of it. Imagine going into your business like that. Imagine switching your brain wave state from beta consciousness switched on, always fearing, to beautiful alpha mind, creativity, fun, playfulness, inspiration. What do you really want to be doing in your business? Do you want to be sat behind your laptop? Do you want to be stuck in your to-do lists? Or do you want to be creating something amazing? Do you want to be really leaning into your gifts? That is a stage in your soul pilgrimage, is realizing your gifts, whether they're spiritual gifts or whether they are divine passions and gifts, or probably both, because we all have, you know, psychic powers. I'm loving, by the way, you guys all reaching out to me and saying, you know, this has happened, that has happened. I've been afraid to talk about it. Is it normal? What do I do? I love it. I love that you're seeing me in that way. I love that you're sharing with me what's going on, because it's normal. And as part of your soul pilgrimage is to realize your gifts. And as you realize your gifts and lean into your divine passions and your divine service, because everything's written, you can then start to use like really powerful hacks to be able to expand to receive even more higher energies, right? Purification. I wanted to finish on something that is really important. We think about the story of Jesus, the story of in the Bible of Jesus and his death and his resurrection, and it goes across 3 days and 2 nights, brain fog, and we go from a dead man to an empty tomb. And this is you. This is resurrection. This is where death or life emerges from death, the death of your ego and the birth of your divine I. Trusting in yourself, trusting you are the higher power. And there's a rabbit hole I can go down into in those 3 days and 2 nights, but think of it as the mystery, right? We don't know what happened in that tomb, but we know that the gift was resurrection. And that can be you, to go into your mystery, to go into the darkness, to go into the dark places of yourself and find your power, find your truth. Because I promise you, you will begin to live like you've never lived before. You will begin to love like you have never loved before. I promise you. When you look through the eyes of love, you love everything you see, and everything around you becomes lighter as well. You know, I cried yesterday with happy tears because I looked on my children and I thought to myself, they're so fucking happy. I mean, Bowie wasn't happy. She was driving me nuts yesterday, but she's tired and she's got worms. Mum life. But, right, my kids are so fucking happy. When I think back to it, I mean, Eden's nearly 11 years old. And I think where I was when I was 11 years old. And I don't think I was happy like that. I don't think I was carefree like that. I don't think I was, you know, still carrying my wonder of childhood. I've got it back now. I'm living life in a trustful. I'm trying things first. If I fall, fuck it. That's how I am going to learn, but not learn to fear. It's in the mystery. It's in trying. It's in going deep. It's in feeling the layers that you have, the fears that you have. You know, starting to question things. I had a beautiful check-in session with a client yesterday, and she said to me, Claire, I didn't believe you when you said that I could make 5 grand in 30 days. I do a strategic call with everybody who starts with me. And I tell you what I think. I tell you what I see. And I said, girl, I think you can make 5 grand in the next 30 days. And she said, okay. But she told me yesterday in the check-in session that she didn't believe that. Part of her believed it. Part of her trusted me. But part of her didn't trust herself. And she made 5 grand in 30 days. And The interesting thing that was when we were checking in yesterday, that's what has created fear. That is what has brought shit up for us to now work through. And that is true for you. If you want the next stage in not only your soul's development, but in your business, the next level in your business, your greater fucking heights, bigger than you have before, bolder than you have before, more reach. No, going into the fucking shitty strategy, ads, Facebook groups, blah, blah, fucking blah. Get inside of yourself and start going into your mystery. The stuff that you have refused to look at, refused to see, and then go a level deeper than that into the stuff that you don't know, and let the fucking light shine out. The inner guru. Awaken your inner guru. I'm going to invite you right now, again, to my mystery school. This is an off-the-cuff, inspired action to put this out for you, starting Monday, 7 days of activities that are going to help you trust yourself, awaken your inner guru, believe that you can have it all and it can be easy. It's absolutely free. All you have to do, comment below, I'll send you the link. I'm gonna go home and shower.